And Real Madrid, will they pull off, whatever you want to call it, the deal of not just the summer, it would be the deal of the decade. Now, whether it'll happen or not, many people are sceptical. You'll have seen the image for this video if you've come through YouTube, and it is David De Gea, and it is David De Gea centric, I believe. I don't think we can talk about Varane, Kroos, even Ronaldo. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about with Real Madrid and what player we would like to sign from them. But it will all be dependent on whether David De Gea goes to Real Madrid. Because if he doesn't go, they're not going to sell us anything. And the reality is with Real Madrid players, whether it's Kroos, Varane, Casemiro, whoever you want to pick from Real Madrid, they're all actually under long-term contracts and they would cost a lot of money. It's David De Gea centric, like I say. But there are rumours out there, as we all know, that David De Gea will go back to Real Madrid this summer, which will start a chain effect of events that we've probably never seen in, I would say, well over a decade. And the reason I say a decade is a singular transfer like Paul Pogba obviously is the deal of the summer like it was last year. But it's very rare in modern football for deals to be done where a big player goes to one club and it's almost like swap deals. And that is basically what Manchester United are looking to manoeuvre with Real Madrid, because we don't need £70 million, £50 million, £35 million for David De Gea. We don't need the money. We don't. Manchester United do not need the money. We are losing one of the best goalkeepers in the world. The best, I believe, but one of the best, I agree. So why do we... What does the money solve? It doesn't solve us anything. So if we're going to lose De Gea, Manchester United have made it abundantly clear that they will look to pull something out of Real Madrid that benefits Manchester United. And Real Madrid are willing to do that, because Real Madrid, beyond getting David De Gea, and let's have no doubts about this, they have reached the end of their patience, the fans, the president, and now Zidane with Keylor Navas, and they want a goalkeeper of real quality in the goal, between the goals, funny enough, because that's where the goalkeeper plays. The president there wants a Spanish goalkeeper. The Spanish #1 is obviously available. He's not playing in Spain at the moment. They want to bring him home. The indication is that De Gea will go back at some point, whether it's this summer or not. So Madrid want that to happen. They also want to bring in a couple of other Galacticos, as they always do, which means they need to ship some players out. Now, I'm not an expert in Real Madrid. I don't really like the club that much. I think their fans, if you can call them that, booing the likes of Ronaldo and Casillas is just absolutely abhorrent. It would be like United fans booing Scholes. But each to their own. I know there are a lot of Real Madrid fans out there, and this is not a video to criticise Real Madrid. I don't know how Real Madrid work. I don't know what replacements they've got for some of these players I'm going to mention now. But if David De Gea is to go to Real Madrid, then there is rumours, quite strong rumours, that Real Madrid will cut a deal with Manchester United involving players going the other way. Which, to be honest with you, we can speak about replacements for David De Gea. We've done that till the cows come home. But what we would want from Real Madrid is not a goalkeeper. We don't want Keylor Navas coming to Manchester United. No way. We'll sort our own goalkeeper out. But if we're going to get players from Real Madrid, there's a variety of players that, you know, you could argue a case for probably 3-4 Real Madrid players that would be of use to Manchester United, and I would want us to get a little bit of money from the deal as well. So De Gea goes the other way. Who are the likely candidates that Manchester United would look for to further this deal? Rafael Varane obviously springs to mind. Early 20s, very good in the air, one of the best centre backs in Europe. Why would Real Madrid let him go is my concern. I mean, Varane has always spoke very openly about his love for Jose Mourinho. I would presume that love is reciprocated, and I mean, Varane would be perfect. I think we're running out of options for the dominant centre-back that we need. I've obviously shouted about Manolas a lot, but I'll put my hands up, and he wasn't great against Lyon in the Europa League a couple of weeks ago. So Varane, he's got that distribution and quality about him that maybe a dominant Manolas doesn't have, but he's also good in the air. I just don't know enough about Real Madrid to know what replacements they would have in mind if Varane leaves, because they would then surely be in the same position we are of wanting a centre-back. So whether that deal can be done or not, he's on a long-term contract, but it's the sort of thing Manchester United need to, you know, if De Gea is going to go and he wants to go and Real Madrid want him, then we've got to dig in our feet. We don't need the money. We want players that make us better, and I would be bargaining as hard as we can to bring somebody like Varane in. The next one, Toni Kroos. Well, we need a centre midfielder, don't we? But my concern about Kroos is whether where he'd fit into a Manchester United midfield, because he basically plays the Pogba role. I know he can play deeper than that, and I'd like to see him at Manchester United playing that sort of takeover from Carrick, but my personal feeling is that position really needs to be somebody a little bit different to Toni Kroos. You know, your sort of Fosu Mensah in a couple of years, but certainly your sort of Kante, your Kessie, your Bakayoko, your Matuidi, that sort of, you know, your Ndidi, that sort of, your Guy or Gay at Everton. That sort of player is what I think we need. So Kroos, you know, I'd be ecstatic with him, but I'm not too sure he's what we need. Casemiro at Real Madrid, 25-year-old Brazilian, who is a bit more like, you know, your sort of dynamic but good on the ball midfielder. Well, yeah, that one would interest me. But again, why would Real Madrid want to let him go? Have they got players they've got an eye on that they'd want to get? Maybe a Verratti or somebody coming through from their youth, which is not really their way. But maybe if they're in for Verratti, then maybe they would be willing to let a Kroos or a Casemiro go. Who else? Well, James Rodriguez. We spoke about him yesterday. Real Madrid would be more than happy to do a deal with us. Give us 30 million and Rodriguez for De Gea. For me, I like James Rodriguez. I spoke about him last night. He's got a wand of a left foot. But whether I would want him as part of a De Gea deal, I'm not convinced by that. I've had a lot of people who watch Real Madrid contacting me last night saying he's not that good. I wouldn't want him. There's other people saying he is. Would I want him at Manchester United? Probably. Would I want him as part of the De Gea deal? I don't think that solves the problem enough that we would have for losing De Gea. I think De Gea, we're going to lose a fundamental part of our team. We want something from Real Madrid that's going to solve a fundamental problem of our team. Rodriguez is like a bonus signing. You know, we could use him in the attacking positions, but fundamental problems United have got are a dominating centre-back and a midfielder, a CDM and a striker. Which brings me on to Morata, who is surplus to requirements at Real Madrid for sure. He's scoring a lot of goals, but he's not the man. He's never going to get first-team football there. I've done the video earlier, whether you saw it, in my glorious sunny garden. It's a one-off, don't worry, it's never normally that sunny. About Javier Hernandez coming to Manchester United. Well, what about Morata? We've spoken about Morata when he was at Juventus. As a pure goal scorer, he's immaculate. Can he do it in the Premier League? Would he be happy to be that sort of squad player? Because I don't think he's going to be our number 9. That will be Zlatan or somebody else. But if he's happy to become to Real Madrid and be sort of a bench squad player, he could be very interesting. But then you would say, well, why would he want to do that when he's already doing it at Real Madrid? But then, if he wants to come, I think it's an interesting one that doesn't get mentioned, is what I would say. Morata. Ronaldo, I've got to mention it because his comment, he came out this week about his boots being inspired by Manchester United. I said last summer was the last summer we should take Ronaldo. I would push it back based on what Zlatan's done at 35, and Ronaldo looks after himself as well. So I would still take Ronaldo this summer. Do I think it will happen? Not in a million years. I don't think him and Mourinho get on that well. So his love for Manchester United would probably be dissolved by the fact that Mourinho's managing us. But never say never. Manchester United can do anything, but I don't think Real Madrid are ready for Ronaldo to go, and I don't think Ronaldo's ready to leave Real Madrid. And certainly if we didn't have Champions League football, he wouldn't be coming back. But worth considering. Bale's never going to happen, and they'd be the players I'd pretty much be looking at. I mean, LaRusso says he doesn't want Morata. Awesome Guy says it's not going to happen, but hopefully doesn't say what. Maybe he's talking about De Gea. I mean, speaking about De Gea to Real Madrid, nobody knows whether it's going to happen or not. The reality is he came very, very close to going back a couple of years ago, and a fax machine stopped it, or Real Madrid stopped it. He wanted to go back. He wanted to go back to Madrid. If that's not changed, then let's consider the fact that his girlfriend doesn't live in Manchester. It's a life choice for De Gea. He's not from Manchester. He's not English. He's from Spain. He's from Madrid. He can go and probably increase his wages and play for a club that, unfortunately for Manchester United, is more successful than us at the moment. So the attraction's there to go and do that. My heart says he will go, and so does my head. And I've got to be honest, I've just got a horrible feeling he will go. I don't want him to go. I think De Gea's been fantastic for Manchester United. I just think he will go, and then that will set off a chain event that Manchester United have got to act. And I think the noises coming out of the press and Manchester United are quite positive around the players that we're being linked to. If we're going to sell De Gea, but then we're linked to people like Varane, then it suggests that, like I say, it would be whether we sign Griezmann or not, I think this deal will be the deal of the summer, and in many ways an eye-opening deal of the last decade, because you don't get swap deals like that. And I think Manchester United have been so good in the transfer window since we've got Mourinho that money's irrelevant. They could give us 100 million for De Gea, but what do we get in return apart from 100 million pounds that we've then got to go and spend? And all the other clubs know we've got 100 million pounds to spend, and we pay over the odds anyway. If we're going to lose De Gea, I think Mourinho's been quite open to the fact that I'll put my hands up, and if a player wants to go, they will go. But the great thing about if De Gea goes to Real Madrid is if we play hardball, then we haven't got to go and spend that money we've got from De Gea and pay over the odds prices, because we can barter with Real Madrid and say, right, you can have De Gea, you can give us 20 million, but we want him. And personally for me, there's one player that stands out, it's Varane. But I do think there is a good shout for Morata. I would not be surprised if we got Morata, because we do need another striker and he knows where the back of the net is. Cruz as a long shot would be good. Casemiro as well would be quite interesting. But Varane would be the one for me that I think would help us the most. I don't want the money, and I don't want Keylor Navas as part of any deal. I know that was going to happen before. I don't want it to happen at all. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But for those who've got Tyrone Williams makes a good point. Morata, but he's not fast enough. But Callum Smith says, I'd love to have Morata. He's class. And let's have a look at some of your comments. Chikorito is my boy. He was just awesome. Says awesome guy. And the is Cristiano Ronaldo coming home? Says Potsy. I'd love it to happen. I don't think it will. And Morata is not good enough, says the Coconut Jams. But what about Navas? Says Longton PS. I think I've said twice, I don't want him. Please don't leave De Gea, says Naf. Well, that would solve every problem. Icarus says Varane and James. I mean, that would, if we could get Varane and James Rodriguez for David De Gea, then I think we'd do it, wouldn't we? No, I'm not saying we would do it because we want De Gea to go. No, that's not what I'm saying. But based on the situation that I'm presenting you now, De Gea is adamant he wants to go back to Real Madrid. We let him go. But in return, we get James Rodriguez and Varane. I would do that and then go and spend 35 million, 40 million on Oblak or a Donnarumma or Ter Stegen or someone like that. That's what I would do. But if it all depends. If De Gea decides he wants to go, we're going to let him go. Then we've got to barter for the deal that suits Manchester United. And I would have confidence that Mourinho and Woodward would sort that out. And like I say, it will be the deal of the summer, because it will be unprecedented, really, that it'll be the biggest fee ever paid for a goalkeeper, but then it'll be like a swap deal as well, which, like I say, you just don't get. So it'd be very, very interesting. I think, and I know we on the United Stand and those who've been following us for the last couple of years know that the channel sort of comes into its own in the summer, because we talk a lot about transfers, and fortunately I do know quite a lot about players around Europe, as a lot of you do. And we will talk about deals that will get linked to somebody. We'll talk about it, like Adam Unas last summer. Never happened, but we did a show on it and we'll talk about it and whether they're good for Manchester United or not. But my prediction about this summer is, and I know we said it last year when we bought 4, I think this summer is going to be massive for Manchester United. I hope we're going to get Champions League football, because I think it will make it even better. But even if we don't, I think what will happen is we'll still do a lot of deals. They may not be the big deals we want in relation to the big players, but we'll still have deals backed up. But I think I can see a lot of people going out the door, and I can see a lot of people coming in the door. And I know we don't want that, but it has to happen. It has to happen, because the squad's not good enough. And if we carry on with this squad, we will suffer next season. And it's not Mourinho's squad. It's still a lot of Van Gaal and a bit of Moyes. And we might not want to sell players and buy a lot of players, but to get the squad to near it where it needs to be, we need to do that. Obviously, we need to use the youth, but the youth, we've not really used the youth for 20 years of real first-team quality, apart from a splattering of people like Fletcher and 1 or 2 others. So I do believe in the youth, but we haven't got enough that we can put 5 or 6 of them in the squad. So we're going to have to do a lot of deals. And let's not forget, as I said on the Javier Hernandez video this morning, Van Gaal screwed us over big time in many, many ways. But when he let Rafael and Hernandez go, who were 2 players who loved Manchester United and would run through brick walls for us, 2 really good squad players, you couple into that Van Persie, Nani and Welbeck. That's 5 squad players that we lost, that actually I would kill to have them as squad players now, and I would happily swap them with Darmian, with Fellaini, with Phil Jones and a couple of others. So not only did Van Gaal not really performed that well in the transfer window. He got rid of players that Mourinho's openly said himself that he wishes he had as part of our squad now. So we need a lot of work this summer. We do need a lot of work. So if De Gea decides to go, we're going to get a goalkeeper anyway. But as part of the De Gea deal, if we can get 2 really good players to come into our squad, whether it was Varane and Rodriguez, or a Varane and Casemiro, or a Varane and Morata, that would be fantastic for us, because we will sign a goalkeeper to replace De Gea, but instead of money that we don't really need, we get 2 players that are good for the squad. So very interesting. That's why I've done the video. I think there's something in this. I'll be quite happy if we look back on this video in 2 months' time and go, De Gea stayed, this was irrelevant. But it might not be. And at the moment, I'd say I'm 70% sure this scenario is going to happen. It all depends on what De Gea wants to do. Get commenting below, give us your thoughts. The reason for doing the video really was to get your comments below on what players you would take from Real Madrid and your thoughts around it. But I think it's going to be very interesting to keep our eyes on. Very interesting. Thanks for watching. I'll be live on the Mark Goldbridge channel tonight at about 8 o'clock with my Manchester United versus Sunderland tactics preview. For those who enjoy that, that's on Mark Goldbridge. Make sure you give it a subscribe. I'll be live at 8 o'clock. If you've not seen the Javier Hernandez video I did this morning, go and give that a watch. Very interesting, and amazed by the results on the poll as it stands at the moment. Absolutely stunning. So go and give that a watch. I'll speak to you all either later on the tactics preview or tomorrow, 12:30, we're live with the watch along Sunderland. Have you seen Liverpool's team? If Stoke can't beat Liverpool today, they deserve to be relegated. I hope they do, and then it just gives us another sniff of top 4. But we'll see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do leave a like on the video. Keep getting involved. You're all fantastic. Let's get Champions League football, and then their summer's going to be fantastic. I'll speak to you all very soon.